you later on in the show.
Yes. Now, did you spend too much money on wine at the weekend?
Oh, yes.
Did you?
Sorry, I did.
Oh, did you? If you did, then you need to meet our next guest. It's our winosaur, Mr. Phillip Silverstone. How nice to meet you, Phillip.
There's a wine.
Yes, what exactly
I'm
do
a
you do?
winosaur. A winosaur. See, I don't like the idea of wine snobs, and I don't like the idea of wine snobs talking about wine experts. And so people say to me when I'm on television in the States and all the stuff I do there, let's call you a wine expert, let's call you a wine connoisseur. I said, no, 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 no. I want people to think of wine in a light-hearted, amusing way. Let's call me a wine-tertainer. Let's call me a winosaur. People will chuckle when they hear that. Now, let me tell you, I'm so honoured to be with you today. And let me say this very quickly, to be with the most gorgeous lady on British television and a great icon of British television, I have a gift for each of you, and it's in humour. It also demonstrates my humour. Let's start with Lionel Blair.
Yes.
Old Git.
Old Git.
Oh, yes.
Nothing personal.
Oh.
I'm scared now.
I love Old Git.
I don't know how to do this.
Old Tart. That's me, to a T. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take that later.
Can you tell us how much can you spend? Do you have to spend an absolute fortune to get good wine in the shops?
I'm a winosaur. Never, ever, everyone watching us today, never, ever spend more than a £5.
You're being serious?
Never spend, and in fact, do me a favour, don't spend over £4 if you don't have to. You can get, anyone in here, please, please, when you leave here today, don't spend more than £4 to £5
So the
a
cheaper
bottle of
wines
wine.
in supermarkets...
No, excuse me, there is no such thing as cheap wine.
Sorry.
Inexpensive wine.
Inexpensive wine in supermarkets. I mean, can they be
fantastic, fantastic. And as I said before, there's no such thing as a wine expert, but everyone in this room, anyone at home, who's ever tasted a bottle of wine, a glass of wine, that they know that they like and they've gone back to again, they're an expert of that wine.
OK, but look, I'm sorry. I am one of those awful wine snobs. I know nothing about it, but I know what I like. So, cans, wine in cans.
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
Oh, please.
Let me explain something else to you. There's something in a bottle of wine called a cork. It's a little piece of wood, and you should always buy, by the way, a tip, you should always buy a bottle of wine that's lying on its side, or laying on its side. I'm not quite sure what the right word is there. Lying on its side, because the cork has to prevent the air getting into the bottle, which turns the wine to vinegar.
Oh, really?
So, in order to keep the wine moist and swollen, you have to have it on the side because there's about an inch gap between the wine and the cork. Now, the idea of that is to keep the air out. It's a seal. There is absolutely nothing wrong.
Oh, you see, this is...
Cheers.
This is strange. No.
Cheers.
I can't drink
You
wine
have
out.
to. You can't
Now,
do this
what
today.
about... You know when you get wine in a restaurant...
It's yucky.
You notice I don't have any. I'm
Yeah,
smart.
well,
But anyway, that's...
tastes like vinegar, that one. Thank you very much.
Me too.
OK, so now...
You know when you go to a restaurant and people go...
I'm just proving a point here. The point that I'm proving is that I can go in, and I've had 26 years' experience, but I'm not afraid, and this is the other thing I'm trying to get across to people. Please don't be afraid to go in and ask for anything you want. No one's going to laugh at you.
Okay.
If I want to go in and ask for a tin of wine, a can of wine, fine. If you don't like it, that's fine. But I'm not intimidated.
Right, I understand that.
Okay.
OK, but get sort of top tips for choosing a cheaper way.
Because you can get wines from all over the world.
You can get wines from all over the world. My recommendation to everybody is buy wines, not because I live in the New World, but buy wines from the New World, not from the Old World. So you're talking about Chile, Argentina, California, South Africa, New Zealand, and there's a reason for that. Wines from the Old World have all these confusing names on the label that nobody can understand. Wines from the New World use grape varieties like Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Sauvignon Blanc. So any of you who have ever had, for example, a Chardonnay, and you know that you like a Chardonnay, and you can say, OK, let me try Chardonnay from California, let me try it from South Africa.
So you just give it a try everywhere.
You give it a try, and don't spend more than a £5.
Okay, well, everything on this table is all under a £5, as we pointed out. Now, how about, and Lionel was just starting there with, when you go to a restaurant, you do get, sometimes you go to restaurants and you have them, they're Bibles of wine.
Yeah.
Where do you begin? And then they do this. Madam?
Well, they show you the label because they want to make sure that if you have ordered a Chateau Lafite 1961 for £5,000 a bottle, and they bring out something from the south of France for £2.99, you want to make sure the label matches what you ordered. But you've got to buy some time because you go into a restaurant, you're nervous, we're all nervous, they're giving you 500 wines in a book. What do? Ask for the house wine.
See, I've heard this before.
You have? I'll leave.
No, I think everyone says the house wine is great.
You ask for the house wine, you're doing two things. Number one, you're buying time to just peruse. Yeah. And number two, if you like the house wine, then go for the bottle. You don't have to go for anything in there. Just ask them for the whole bottle.
Well, if you go to the bottle and they... What about when they bring the cork over and ask you to...
Well, I have had experiences in restaurants where the wine waiter was so rude to me, I told him where he could put the cork. Up his nose. But the cork is presented to you. I just explained to everyone here, and I hope they were listening. The wine's on the side. One end of the cork should be wet. So when they present you with the cork,
make sure it's wet.
If it's not wet, it might be standing up.
Now, we've been saying all morning that you can make one bottle of wine into two. Explain, please.
I have a wonderful tip. When you go into a restaurant, if one of you is traditional and likes red wine with meat, and I don't care what wine you drink with what food, it doesn't make any difference. But if you're traditional, one person wants red wine with meat, the other one wants white wine with fish. Here's a great idea. They're going to hate you in the restaurant, but it's wonderful. Ask, whichever one of you is having the red wine with meat, ask for 2 glasses. Pour yourself 2 glasses of the wine. The person who wants the white wine with fish, I'm going to open a bottle here as well. The one who wants the white wine with fish...
Do you mind white wine and red wine with fish?
I only like red wine. I only drink a lot of it.
So, with fish or anything?
With everything. Yeah. And with nothing on its own.
And I'm going to ask you to do me a favour.
OK.
Would you pour yourself, each of you, a little glass of wine?
So, all right, so
You've asked for 2 glasses of wine, of the red wine. Then you ask them for an ice bucket.
Right,
you take the remaining wine. This is the same wine we're pouring here. You take the remaining wine, you whack it into the ice bucket, you chill it down.
Wine?
Yes, the same wine. And it has to be a Pinot Noir or a Merlot. It's the perfect wine for this. You put your half bottle that's left in the ice bucket for 10 minutes, you chill it down, and I want you, if you have a moment here, to taste the two side by side. Now, let me just point one other thing out to the audience here and at home. It's very important. If the restaurant applauds you and tells you this is totally brilliant, please remember to tell them Phillip Silverstone told you to do it. If they throw you out the restaurant, before you're thrown out the restaurant, remind them that Lionel Blair recommended this.
Do you know, that really works, because that tastes like a red wine and that tastes like a...
Very light, and
it
it makes it very light, very fruity, and it'll go with fish.
I'm delighted you were here today, because I love red wine, and that's a great tip, and I like it cold. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wonderful. Thank you for the wine. After the break, a couple of special treats for the ladies.
I think I'm going to try this again.
Yes, of course. We learn how they make chocolate white. And we meet the bronzed Adonis, renowned for his six-pack and his breaststroke. Actor Jason Simmons will be here to tell us all about life after Baywatch.
He's cute too. We'll see him in 3 minutes. Cheers!
Cheers!